PSA leader who toppled oppressive PNM regime. The legacy by which the Public Services Association, PSA president would like to be remembered is, in her words, the PSA president who removed an oppressive government. Felicia Thomas also says one of her top priorities is the issue of job security for 30,000 contract workers in the public service. Thomas, who began her public service career as a trainee at the Water and Sewerage Authority, WASA, made the statements during an interview last Wednesday with the Sunday Express at her office on Abercrombie Street, Port of Spain. Speaking on challenges facing public sector workers, she said, "Salary negotiations are one of the pressing issues, but of course we have issues of contract work that have been plaguing many organizations scattered throughout the public service. You have workers working 10, 15, and 20 years on contract." Thomas, a mother of one, vowed to ensure greater job security for workers. She also highlighted the treatment of pensioners as a continuing concern for the PSA. Many retirees have left their various organizations and are not being paid the appropriate rate of pension. They're being paid at a substantive position and not the one they left the organization in, she said. Addressing concerns about political affiliations and compromising union integrity, Thomas insisted it is possible to remain fully committed to members despite giving support to a political entity. Defending her decision to publicly support the United National Congress, UNC, during the last general election, Thomas described the move as strategic and necessary. She argued that the previous administration had shown little regard for workers' welfare, while the then opposition presented a clear and credible alternative. She believed the situation was dire enough to warrant guiding workers on how to cast their votes. The PSA mounted the political platform and we spoke on workers' issues. We didn't speak about politics. We spoke about what directly affects our membership, Thomas said, adding that with the PSA's input, the UNC created a workers' agenda that touched on so many of the issues affecting workers. We saw several of those commitments already materialize. Thomas was referring to the intended repeal of the Trinidad and Tobago Revenue Authority, TTRA Act, and the discarding of the WASA subcommittee report. Both actions gave thousands of workers relief from impending job insecurity, she said. Asked about other issues the UNC workers' agenda covered, Thomas identified areas surrounding occupational health and safety and access to affordable housing. A lot of workers, they come to the union as beyond representation, as a means to help and assist. Workers feel as though they're dedicating their lives to the state or the various employers as a means to advance themselves and their lives, and they're not seeing it happening, whether it is by way of proper salaries or by way of being able to attain a home. So housing is one of the issues that workers see as one that they would want addressed, Thomas stated. The hoped-for legacy. In March, Thomas made history when she was voted as the PSA's president with the highest number of votes ever recorded in the union's internal election. She won with over 2,600 votes, defeating Oral Saunders under 1,000 votes and Nixon Callender under 500. She attributed her victory to the union's firm stance against the unpopular 4% wage increase offer, saying both Saunders and Callender supported the offer, while her team insisted workers deserved better. When asked what she would like her legacy to be, Thomas replied, "The PSA president who removed an oppressive government." She said alongside her election victory, that was one of her proudest achievements as a trade unionist, both occurring within her first year in office. "We came into office with an understanding and a mandate from those who supported us that we had to remove the PNM government from office. And to see that materialize," she said, going on to describe April 28th, Election Day, as historic. 4%, the PNM's downfall. "We were saying workers deserve more, and it was not about the country not having money. It was about prioritizing workers," she said, stressing. "Workers understood they needed leadership that would advocate strongly for them and stand by what we said we would do." Thomas believes the previous PNM administration's downfall was due to years of neglect of the working class, with the 4% offer being the final insult. "There was a lack of effort and lack of care," People are working on salaries of $4,500 and rent alone is $3,000 or more. If we say $2,500, $2,000, you're probably compromising on location. And when you're faced with those circumstances, then you're faced with challenges putting food on the table. And then every Monday morning, prices going up. And no, nothing from the state in relation to treating with those issues or even attempting in any way to change the circumstances of workers. And when I say change the circumstances of workers, simple things as making someone permanent so that they could plan their lives. You could get a loan, you could get a mortgage. She also pointed to systemic issues such as workers acting in higher positions without commensurate pay, delays in processing allowances, and contract workers being threatened with termination for refusing duties outside their job descriptions. It created a scenario beyond the 4% that was unbearable for the working class in this country, she said bluntly. Now at the PSA helm, Thomas says her vision is to rebuild the PSA, not just structurally, but in spirit and engagement. Workers fear victimization, lamenting that over the years she has seen the union's membership dwindle for varying reasons. She said, "We used to have PSA fates, sports days, people actively wanting to be reps in their workplaces. My vision is to restore that sense of pride and belonging." She also plans to expand member benefits, including the PSA Advantage Plus discount card, an initiative designed to increase members' disposable income. This term is about growth and development for the membership and for the benefits we offer, she said. Thomas also addressed an ongoing challenge to union activity, fear of victimization. There are contract workers being told they can't join the union or their contract won't be renewed, she said. We have members hiding to pay dues. This fear also discouraged members from becoming union representatives, she said. It's real, she added. There are reps being denied promotions or acting positions simply because they represent the union. That ought not to be. Thomas said she hopes to rebuild a constructive and respectful relationship between the PSA and management based on open dialogue and mutual understanding. She emphasized that unions and management should not be adversaries, but partners striving toward the same goal, organizational success and worker well-being. When that relationship functions well, she said it improves the work environment, boosts morale, and benefits both employees and the institutions they serve.